Okay, we're live. Testing, testing. Today on Quality Time with... Sorry. I was thinking about the baby. Testing, testing. Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn Stephen Keaton is the worst.
And in 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I am Scott Jones, one of your hosts. And with me, as always, Mr. Paul Packler. Paul, how's it going?
Not great, Scott. This episode was a pile of four dogs shit.
Oh, yes, it was.
Four dogs came in separately and just...
one at a time.
Yeah.
And they just piled on top of each other.
And it took 24 minutes.
Yep. Corey, how are you?
I too just watched this episode, and I'm still sort of stunned by how. Hi, Henry. How are you?
There's like, I'm gonna go up there watch something better than what you guys just watched.
I'd rather watch Henry than watch this episode. Tell you
I
that.
know. He's like, I'm watching cool stuff. I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing.
That's awful.
By the way, son, don't say that.
Yes.
Well, let's look at something good here, guys. All three of us are back together again. It's been a couple of weeks since all three of us have been doing the show together, which leads me to go to say this is why this season has been the worst. It's like broken us up. Like the episodes have been horrible.
Yeah, this season 5 is sort of our White Album, where all of the Beatles hated each other and would just be like, well, I'm going to be recording my song, so if you guys want to come in, that's fine.
But Paul, if that's true, then that means season 6 is going to be our Let It Be, where we really hate each other and just want to quit.
It might be. It might well be.
Yeah, this is... I think there's only been maybe barely one good episode this entire season, and we're halfway through.
Yeah, last week. Did you get to watch last week's episode, Scott, even though you didn't record?
I have not yet, but I will.
It's fine.
Is it good? Is it fine? Is it decent?
Well, cut to the chase. What's the log line?
Oh, it's the best. It's the best episode this season, and it's not that great.
Okay.
If that doesn't sell you, listeners. All right. Well, let's jump into this pile of crap. All right. If you're playing along at home, we are in season 5, episode 16, The Architect's Apprentice, right? I got that right.
Yeah,
Apprentice,
weird title.
It's a weird, meaning someone's going to help someone do something? Like,
except it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, except it didn't mean that. Exactly, that's what the problem is. And he wasn't an apprentice to the architect. Well, this starts getting into the whole logic problem of this episode. It's as if no one sat down and sketched out a timeline to make any of this work.
Yeah.
No.
My favorite part so far in this episode is that we're already having problems just with the title.
Just what the title means. It makes no sense. Which goes into why the recurring joke in the show makes no sense. Right. The fact that he was interviewed so that he could enter a competition makes no sense.
No.
Can't anyone enter a competition? I thought so.
Yeah, it's...
Why is it a competition? They're submitting.
There were 2 people. There were also 2 people there. That's all. There were 2 artists, and then they were asking for. This is a competition for serious artists. All the serious artists that hang out in Ohio,
Columbus, Ohio.
We're talking about.
Well, you know what? I would say at first I was like, well, how many serious artists are there really in Columbus, Ohio? But yet, we saw that episode where that old woman wanted to sleep with Nick, and she was feting him around Columbus to all these different art exhibits. So there's tons.
I forgot.
Because in the 80s, there was the New York scene and then the Columbus, Ohio scene. Everyone knows that. It's art history.
Yeah, Basquiat did a lot of his best work in Columbus.
Oh, absolutely. Also, what makes this title frustrating is the fact is there's a moment where you think, oh yeah, this ties into the title. Like Nick is kind of helping Elise with picking out stuff. It's like, now I see what this episode's going to be about. Nope.
Never went there. They teased us. Like, yeah, this is how it ties into the title. But nope, sleight of hand. It's absolutely about something else.
You know what? I mean, let's start from the start. But I want to say about that though is you think at that moment where Elise is looking at the blueprint, and he comes in and says, "Oh, I would do this," and she says that. I mean, there's your episode right there. Is that they get.
Henry thinks so too.
Yeah, totally. Henry totally agrees that they get the episode would be Elise and Nick get closer than they've ever been. Boom, there's your episode.
Because Nick has the instincts to be, as an artist, he's got the instincts to be an architect
and
or
so
to help an artist.
Yeah, so the whole episode could be, oh, maybe I should abandon being an artist to be an architect, and then he makes the decision. Boom, there's your episode.
These writers can't see the forest for the freaking trees.
Absolutely. It's as if they had the episode in their hands and let it slip through their hands into something else. And what the something else is just awful.
Yeah.
All right, let's start at the beginning because we have our what is kind of a B plot of getting Andy to go to sleep, and they're reading Peter Rabbit. And
have you ever read that? I've never read that.
I vaguely know it. He keeps stealing stuff from the farmer's garden.
Oh, come on. Did neither of you guys do You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown?
No. I did not.
Short actors did not do You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. I only did 3 productions of it. They're doing a book report on Peter Rabbit, so of course I know Peter Rabbit.
Oh. So who did you play in it, Corey?
Charlie Brown.
Oh, I can see it as a good Charlie Brown. Yeah, so Annie's up, and Alex is like falling asleep in Elise's lap, like he loves the story, and it's lulling him to sleep.
And we know that's a thing that's happened before. That weird episode where he sleeps on her chest as she reads a book.
Yes.
Weird,
really weird. The writers are just milking this Andy thing. Like, how many jokes can we have of Alex and Andy together? Like Alex being the child and Andy being the grown-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're reading this book, and then Elise says it's time for them to go to bed. Andy, of course, like Henry would know, likes to stall before going to bed. And wants to play Monopoly.
Yeah, me too. I love playing Monopoly at 2 a.m.
With real money.
Yeah, the joke is with real money, and of course Alex can't resist.
Yeah.
And then we have Stephen coming home.
Oh no, isn't this where
sorry.
Jennifer and Mallory and Nick come home from the movies?
That's right.
Seeing a action film that Nick says didn't have enough action in it, and it was Schwarzenegger's Commando.
Right.
Yeah, which is like the most blow 'em up action movie of all, like at that time. Like everything gets blown up in Commando. And Nick describes it as an art film.
Sure. I mean, this is the thing. It's like I'm so numb to the the dumb jokes.
Sorry, guys. Now I'm being taunted.
That's amazing. Here, we'll just cut back in.
Okay, jumping back in.
So the thing about these dumb jokes is everything else is so bad that I'm not even like, when you bring up all of these bad jokes, I'm just like, no. We need to keep going because there's big things a brewing in this episode.
It's so funny that you should mention it at exactly the moment my note says, I'm tired of the dumb Nick and Mallory jokes. It's tiring.
Oh, yeah.
That's every episode. It's not the way to go, and I can't believe they couldn't see that they have to stop denigrating their better characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that you think that making fun of somebody is like the like the normal middle of the road joke to make. Like we talked about this before on Growing Pains, that like they would make fun of Tracy Gold's character for being fat. And then the actor ended up becoming bulimic.
Yeah.
But like the fact that in the 80s that you could make fun of somebody for being dumb or being whatever and then just keep hammering at them and that people thought that was funny is just a textbook case of like political correctness being a great thing. It's a step forward in culture.
You know, I noticed in this episode even a lot of times the dumb jokes about Mallory are delivered by Alex without Mallory being in the room to either Mallory's mother or father. And I can't believe they stand there and take the dumb jokes about their child. And even if they thought she was dumb, wouldn't you say, stop that, you're going to give her a complex and we don't need to send her into therapy for the rest of it.
Yes. We are 5 seasons in and no one has stopped Alex from doing this.
From saying terrible things about Mallory. And it's like, for God's sakes, I'm her mother. I love her. Stop that. Just stop saying bad things about Mallory.
Yeah.
You're entitled to your opinions, Alex. Go to your room, think terrible thoughts about your sister, and don't say them.
But you know what? At the same time, this episode...
Star Daddy.
Pause for a second, guys. Hold on. Sorry. Yes. Sorry. What's this?
What is it?
Okay, will you be quiet? Okay. Okay. We're good.
Okay.
Jumping back in.
But the thing is that it's not just Alex who's making fun of Mallory being dumb. He sees it from the top. He sees it from his own parents, who throughout this episode are still trying to sabotage their relationship.
Absolutely. And,
Yeah.
and as we've said over and over again, Nick rises above it all and acts like a gentleman. Once again, the most mature character that we've ever seen in the show.
He's the best. He's the best. I love Nick.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Elise is, Elise is working on her sketches and everything. And Nick goes over there and actually has some great insight. It's amazing. Like, and that's when we were thinking, this is where the architect's apprentice thing comes in. He's going to work with Elise, and that's a perfect combination. Like, we haven't seen those two together.
That's true. That's very true. We haven't seen them like spend an episode together or have a plot line together.
Right, and those two would be so great together. And then they just
use this plot that starts to make no sense from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Elise says, we're redesigning the lobby of Steven's building. And we want a sculpture in the lobby, a piece of art in the lobby. And we're thinking of having a competition to decide what sculpture is the best for the lobby of Steven's new building. So that's where it starts with, is we're going to have a competition. And Nick asks if he could enter the competition. Immediately, Elise gets weird about it. Like, it's like, stop it. She's like Sean Spicer, where she can't answer a question. Spit it out, Elise. Say what you want to say. But she doesn't say it, and what she implies is that Nick isn't good enough. He's not professional enough. And by the way, didn't we just see a few episodes ago some Ohio woman with money want to support Nick's art?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
she thought he was amazing and ousted the entire art industry in Columbus, Ohio.
And haven't we seen Nick's art and seen personally that it's not bad at all? It's actually quite interesting.
Absolutely.
There's no reason to think Nick is not a good artist. And if there was ever a moment for the family to bond with Nick, if there's ever a moment for Nick to have an in with the family where he gets to be himself, this is it.
Yeah.
And
has
it's right,
very well
after he says that he's a good architect. Now he wants to get in. This is right up their alley. These people love artists and artisans, and I can't believe they're rejecting their daughter, who's got a legitimate artist as a boyfriend.
And that's the thing, is that this is like improv 101 of, hey, look at that bird over there. And then the other person says, that's not a bird, it's a dinosaur. And so if you just say yes and to the idea that is offered originally, you'll build a whole thing. But they're saying immediately no. And it's ridiculous because it's not improv, they're writing. So they can look ahead and see, you know, hey, we've got this artist, we've got the Steve and Elise need an artist. So instead of saying yes and see where it goes, they're saying no, and then they make an episode that doesn't go anywhere.
And then on top of that, Paul, they actually have a moment where they backtrack and say yes, where they're bonding over the idea of the Nick have, and then they throw that all away too. It makes no sense.
They keep cutting the legs out from under their own idea throughout the next 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of improv, guys, have you seen? I just watched. Have you seen that movie? Don't Think Twice.
I have.
It's lovely, isn't it?
I just watched it last night, and it was great.
It was really good.
All three of us just watched it within the last week. I didn't ultimately didn't care for it.
Yeah, I mean, I
thought it got a little bit predictable, and once it got plotty, the plotty gut to me was very overwrought, expected. No, there were no surprises after they got plotty.
That's fair. I give it.
Yeah.
I just love the commentary they have on Saturday Night Live where they're all watching the episode and they're like, it's like something that sounds funny, but isn't funny. I thought
the cast was all good, and I thought there were a lot of really good ideas. And as I said to one of my classes last week, if you'd like to see how to play Zip Zap Zop with energy, watch Don't Think Twice. They do it every time they're about to go on stage. Lethargic, dead-ass morgue patients playing Zip Zap Zop. Could you please give me some? Why do you think I'm playing it? Because it's entertaining?
No.
It's just for energy. Can I see it now?
Yeah.
Come on, just connect and
I love one of my favorite things was Kate Micucci throughout the movie. Every time something really bad was said or done, the camera just sort of found her somehow, and her face is so expressive.
Yeah.
Her eyes are so big that her reactions were always the best.
Yeah. Yeah. It was good. I enjoyed it. All right. Back to this. I just had to take a break from this horrible episode to talk about
You know what I did when I was watching it, so I have to do it when I'm talking about it too. We're in the second, so in scene 2, and we're in the kitchen, and Nick is coming over for his interview with Elise and Steven to see if he's allowed to compete in the competition for the
Can we start this scene talking about Steven's dream that he had the night before?
Oh, God.
Well, I'm pretty sure the dream was a spinoff for a new series because it went on so freaking long and had no payoff to it.
And it kind of had a slight hint of racism in there.
Oh, it was real racist.
Like Taco Grande and Estas.
The minute he said Taco Grande, and it was like, oh, wow, you're going to pick up on the fact that he did a sculpture with taco chips? And now you're going to turn it into something that's racist?
And then Alex saying they went back to Mexico, right?
They were like prodding him for the racist joke.
I was like,
the dream ultimately. Excuse me. All right, sorry, I'll start again.
Go.
The dream ultimately, and just the shortest thing, is that he had a dream that they had no money left, and that Mallory and Nick get married. They go to this town in Mexico, and then they come back with their grandkids on a motorcycle, and that the kids are speaking Spanish. And this is horrifying to Steven. It's so racist.
It really is. And it's just, again, they can't let go of Steven disapproving of Nick. Like, we had the whole wedding episode where we thought this hatchet was long buried.
Yeah.
And they can't let it go. They still have to keep bringing it up. It's so obnoxious and annoying.
Yeah. And this episode is probably the worst one of the bunch for that
Easily.
plot line.
May I also
Easily.
say, it's a incredibly stupid parental mistake to, if you don't like your daughter's boyfriend, maybe you should shut up about it, because she's 19 years old, and 19-year-olds are prone to rebel against what their parents say. So maybe you should just shut up and be pleasant about it. And if she loves him, it'll work out. And if it's what you say, they'll find other people.
Yeah. And the show almost gets completely self-aware enough where they're like, you know what? We were hippies that didn't have jobs and toured around America and did all kinds of crazy stuff. And we were so dumb back then, and our parents didn't like it. And we ended up together and we're successful and we have a family and a house and all kinds of stuff. And then they're like, what about Nick is parallel to that? And then they immediately forget that they just had that revelation.
Mm-hmm.
It's so strange. And then they go back to hating him. Like they have this moment of showing how similar he is to them. Like they vocalize it, and you think this is the turning point. It's like, nope, screw Nick. We're not gonna like Nick at all.
Ugh, it's exhausting.
It's exhausting. I do want to say we have seen Nick in interviews before, and he's always he's very nervous and self-conscious and everything. And it was so good to see, because he knows he's going in for an art contest. Like, he asked the best questions. He's a perfect interview.
Yes, he even starts by asking him, what does he ask? Like, how long have you been a professional artist? What kind of art how would you qualify your art? Like, what would you call it? And then, why are you dating our daughter? Whereas Nick's questions are, so what is the theme that you're going for in the lobby that I could then compound upon and build a complementary piece? Like, these are the two types of questions being asked here. Honestly, if I were Nick, I would punch that guy in the fucking face.
Yes.
I also want to know, why were they having the meeting in the Keaton home? Is this how they were going to interview all of
everybody?
And the second question is, why was Alex at the meeting? Why did they say, Alex, we're having a meeting. We're having a professional meeting here.
Yeah.
Could you please excuse us? Why? We're going to let you stay here and make fun of Nick during a meeting in which we're trying to give him a fair shake? It just seemed like a stupid move, unprofessional.
And that brings up the elephant in the room of this episode, Corey, is nepotism. This is Steven's network. They've hired Elise to do all of the architecture, so they're giving money from one family member to another, and then they're going to hire their daughter's boyfriend. Like, Jesus Christ, this is Trump shit.
Yeah.
Exactly. Jared Kushner is doing the sculpture.
Yeah.
Which is,
you know what? That might be the next job that he has.
I think it is. I think that's
so many hats now.
Peace in the Middle East, solve the VA problem, and build a sculpture of Trump.
So who do you think hates their daughter's beau more? Trump because Jared Kushner's Jewish, or Stephen because Nick is a wastoid, or whatever you would call it?
It's almost even, I think.
Yeah.
Really, because it's even. So in this scene, they do the one smart thing is, hey, I've got pictures of some of my work. Why don't you? Elise says to Nick, why don't you take a look at some of my work, and that way you can see. So she gets the pictures. She shows him the pictures. He seems to have a real feel for what she's done.
Yeah.
And somehow or another, they end up singing I Got You, Babe.
How? That was so forced.
It was forced the first time, and it was even more forced the second time.
They end the episode singing I've Got You, Babe.
For no apparent reason. This song is from 1967 or 68. It's something that's really old. So it's definitely not timely. It's Sonny and Cher. They were long divorced, long off the air. The song wasn't popular. There's no link to the song being there organically, so I don't know why they started singing it, only because it's a duet.
Yeah, and the theme of the song is just like a couple like loving each other. At least I have you, and that has nothing to do with what's going on. Like if anything, Steven says, "I don't want you, babe."
Right. So it seemed to be almost like some joke that they thought was funny that happened. That I don't know. There's no reason for it.
No.
No. All right.
And
so,
because this episode is garbage and does all the same plot lines that we've seen countless times, there's a certain irony of using "I've Got You, Babe" like Groundhog Day. Like, I feel like...
that is so perfect. Yeah, that's the link. Maybe that's what the writers were thinking.
Yeah, the most brilliant thing they did was predict that Groundhog Day would be good.
All right, so we get to the point now. Okay, so Nick is gonna. They see the Keatons give their seal of approval that they see no reason why Nick shouldn't enter the competition. And then we cut to, I think.
No, this is the end of the act.
That's the end of the act.
Nick gets it. He understands it, and they're all hugging. And Mallory and Jen burst in with a camera, and they take this moment, sort of a Sammy Davis Jr. All in the Family kind of moment. Oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really. I didn't even think of that, but yeah, they're totally copying that moment.
It is.
Like, here's something that you're not going to want to see again, but I'm going to capture it as a picture. So here you go, guys.
Yeah. There's also something really nice. I just going back to the interview too, that Nick does really well, is he alleviates any fears the Keatons might have at the top, saying, "I'm not going to work with the usual materials I work with." Basically saying, like, I know what this means. I'm going to try to cater this for you. I know what it means to you.
And yeah, just to clarify for listeners who aren't sure, like Nick, his main art that you see him work is found art. So like he uses garbage and stuff like that and repurposes it into sculptures. So he's taking some of the sting out of like, I'm not going to fill your lobby with garbage. What's that?
I just lost sound.
Oh no.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, now I'm hearing you.
Okay.
Cut in. Yeah. Go ahead.
Picking back up. So that's the end of the act, and we cut back to the living room, and there's once again trying to get.
Wait, Scott, we should take a break.
Yo. Oh, is it break time?
No, I couldn't even figure out the commercial, right?
You're probably right. I think you're right.
All right, so let's just cut off everything we just said, and we'll be right back. And we're back.
And we are back in the living room, and Mallory is reading a book to Andy about Fluffy Dog or Floppy Dog.
Yeah, Woofy goes to school or something.
Woofy, yeah. And she's doing I think she's doing a good job. She's doing the voices. She's saying it with some enthusiasm, and Andy's Alex comes in, and he always Alex is they just keep writing him as this asshole. Has to be like one-upping Mallory. Like, he's above this. We read the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal.
Anybody notice Andy's mouth during this scene?
No. No, what was he doing?
I'm going to give an impersonation of what Andy's mouth was doing, and then you guys tell me what I wrote down what Andy was doing.
Okay.
While Alex was reading to him, Andy was doing this.
So for you listening right now, Corey is like a frog?
Yeah.
Or like an anteater, where his tongue is just flapping all around his lips.
Yeah.
I, of course, wrote down the term Andy's practicing cunnilingus.
Jesus Christ.
That's where Corey would go to.
I'm sure that's what he was doing. I was totally wrong with the frog thing. God, I don't know how that got past me.
I don't.
I apologize. It was early. I had no defenses up.
I got.
pre-coffee. But no, when you're Corey Pepper, it's like when you have a hammer, every job looks like a nail. When you're Corey Pepper, every tongue movement looks like cuddling.
Cunnilingus.
Even if it's a 3-year-old doing it, I don't.
That's what it is.
I separate the tongue from the person. It doesn't make any.
It's just the action. That's all we're talking about. Yeah.
Right.
And of course, this is where we have to pause and play one of our favorite games on Quality Time with Family Ties: Belt or No Belt.
All right. So Scott, we're gonna bring you into the game. All right.
Okay.
So welcome back.
Yeah.
We're in Belt or No Belt.
Okay.
Alex P. Keaton, who we know notoriously doesn't wear a belt in Family Ties when he tucks his shirt into jeans, even though wearing a belt would be totally normal and not a difficult thing to find in a store.
Right.
In this scene, is Alex wearing a belt or not wearing a belt?
Ooh,
Scott,
okay. Okay. I wasn't really paying much attention, but I'm looking at the past. You're right. Whenever he has it tucked in, he doesn't usually have a belt on. I'm going to say that they're going to keep that up. I'm going to say no belt.
No belt!
Winner. We have a winner.
Corey, what does he take home?
Absolutely nothing.
A lost sense of self.
That's right. Episode. Lost 22 minutes of his life. Yeah, no belt in the scene. Now, this is where something comes up, and I just wrote down the time frame. So how much time for I didn't realize. I thought they were going to hear the pitches, because this lobby has not yet been renovated. So instead of renovating the lobby and then having them build sculptures to see what they would look like in the newly renovated lobby,
Right.
or instead of them doing sketches of their sculptures, instead of making a sculptor make their sculpture and then see if it's commissioned or non-commissioned.
Yeah.
A lot of that didn't make sense. How much time went by between the scene where they interviewed Nick and the time that they're now unveiling the two competitors? Because now I don't know a lot about sculpture, but my ex-brother-in-law was a sculptor, was a sculptor, and taught sculpture at the Rhode Island School of Design. And I love his sculptures. He's a terrific sculptor, but they take time. They take a lot of time. A sculpture could take anywhere from 9 months to 16 months to do. So my question is, they made Nick do this in what, 6-7 days?
It's what it seems like, a week.
It just doesn't seem, none of this makes sense in the world of sculpture. Not that anything in this episode makes sense.
Right.
No, absolutely. I mean, they make a passing reference to the fact that Nick has been working hard lately, and I think that's his, like...
That's great.
Yeah.
Right.
But his art is made out of, like, metal. Like, this is welding. This isn't, like, easy to maneuver. Like, this would take a lot of time to do.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to see these sculptures tonight in the lobby of Stephen's building that's not renovated.
The two sculptures.
Everyone, right, two sculptures. And the judges are going to be there. Walter and Charles are going to be there to judge along with Stephen, which is the first time that we heard that Stephen's one of the judges, which should raise all of our eyebrows just a little bit, like, well, this really isn't right. Why should Stephen be judging Nick?
Yeah.
No.
Going back to Paul's word of the day, nepotism.
It's so fucked up. It's like when they had the quiz show and Stephen was the one that was the quiz master.
Yes.
But for all the stuff that they get wrong in this episode, they have so much, like, the casting is so like in keeping with, like, the reality of the show, because they have Wirtz, who is the boss at WKS, the guy that when Ned interviewed and he was drunk.
Yep.
So he's there. And then the other guy is the guy that was on Twin Peaks, Corey, that you know.
That's it, Walter Olkowitz.
And so he showed up in episodes where it was Elise at her office at the architecture firm where she works. So it's like he represents the architecture firm, the guy represents WKS, and so then Steven is in the middle, and it's just crazy that their casting is so realistic here.
And how they remember these two guys and can't get their main character straight.
Yeah.
Are we gonna ever stop and mention who's got a problem with Tina Yothers at this point in time in the show? Where has she gone to? They use her as Andy's nanny, and that's it. They don't ever let her talk.
And I think we can say she's become a better actress. Like, she's doing really good with what little she's given. Give her more.
Yeah, they established nothing of her character as a child. And they kept bouncing around from tomboy to really smart to all these different things. Now she's not cute, quote unquote, anymore as a child. And so now they could give less than a shit about her.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Where at the same time I see her as this really funny, sarcastic little sister. Like, I think she write that. Like, that's a great character for her.
She could be like a Chandler Bing of the family.
Yeah. Anyway, so here's what we find out at this competition. There are two sculptures. The judges are going around looking at it. Both judges look at Nick's sculpture and they both say, "Nice job." And Nick is worried and walks off because he feels that someone saying "nice job" means that it sucks in the art world. So he feels defeated. So he walks off.
Right.
While he's off, Mallory goes and talks to Walter. And Walter loves the sculpture, loves it, is going to vote for it, and mentions to Mallory that Charles wants the other sculpture, meaning the deciding vote, and this is where Stephen Keaton is a freaking asshole, is Stephen Keaton voting on this. It's up to him.
I
don't even... What's that, Corey?
That he chooses to be a dick or not to be a dick.
Yeah, that's really it. That's the choice.
My silence is one of, not that I have nothing to say, it's that I have so much to say, and I don't know where to begin. Like, the fact that Steven chooses to vote against Nick who is this person? He's not the person we used to know.
Yes.
This is like a family ending thing.
Yes, it is. So slowly unpacking it here. This is just a sculpture for a lobby. That's all this is. All right. It has no big consequences. All right. 2, no one has complained about Steven being a judge in this. So they're perfectly fine for whoever he votes for. No one's claiming nepotism at this point.
And
right?
what he did isn't obviously a piece of shit.
It's
if
not.
they had done something that was obviously a piece of shit, well, then you've got a conflict and a problem here. But what he did was completely competitive and actually quite nice, quite good. I don't know. Why don't you give him the benefit of the doubt and just say yes and make your daughter happy?
And that's it. Regardless how he feels about Nick, the Stephen Keaton that thank you, Henry. The Stephen Keaton that we know would at least want to make his daughter happy.
Do it for Mallory. That's it. Do it for Mallory.
And what's more frustrating is they don't even give a reason why he voted for the other piece of art. They have no explanation for that.
No, it's just a given. It's just, no, I'm going to be a dick just to be a dick. And here, that's my decision. I'm a dick.
Yeah.
It was... I'm with you, Paul. I can't talk anymore about this.
It's enraging. And the fact that the show lets this happen, that the show doesn't examine it any further. Like, they don't talk about why he did what he did. They don't let him voice his opinions on whatever. They don't let Nick or Mallory argue they don't let them vent and express their frustration in a realistic way. This episode has completely set off a nuclear bomb in the Keaton household that I can never forgive them for.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Paul was like, this is a turning point in how I look at the Keaton household.
And
I felt the same way.
I think that they threw gas on the fire in the next scene when they bring Mallory and Nick in and their tails are between their legs And Mallory apologizes, and Nick thanks them for the opportunity.
What?
I can't believe it. I can't believe they didn't come in and raise holy hell, both of them.
Yeah. They need to move to another city and then just be Nick and
Yeah.
Nick
Let's
and
have-
Mallory.
Yeah, let's have a Nick and Mallory show. I really want to just watch that.
Yeah.
Nick is so sweet. Like the moment he's like, let's go and thank the other artist.
Uh-huh.
I love Nick.
Yeah, no, Mallory, don't get upset. Let's go and thank the other artists. Congratulate them.
Breaks your heart. And he's not, there's never even a moment where he's like hurt by Steven. Like,
No,
I don't know what I have to do, man. It is
Nick has done nothing wrong. Like,
nothing.
you know, people's boyfriends or girlfriends, sometimes they pick good ones, sometimes they pick bad ones, and they don't get along with families or whatever. But Nick has objectively done nothing to merit this amount of, like, animus from Steven, and then a smaller amount from Elise.
No, it's the opposite. He's done above and beyond to be welcomed.
Yeah.
You know? And then just to have a lead character that we have generally liked be such a dick.
Yeah.
It's what are you thinking, writers? I don't I think our silence says it all. Oh my, this is just, yeah. I'm with you, Paul. I can't look at the Keaton household the same way from this point on.
No, I honestly
it's
can't.
just such a horrible, mean moment.
Yeah. And you know, Corey, you always talk about checking out in the final scene where everyone patches stuff up. But honestly, in this patch in the Family Ties patch up scene, what even gets patched up here? Nothing.
Nothing. They threw caution to the wind. They didn't do anything. They bring Mallory and Nick in. They apologize for their actions, and Steven never apologizes for his. He does spend a moment wondering if what Mallory said was right. Did he just pick the other sculpture simply because he doesn't approve of Nick dating his daughter? Is that what he did? And if that's what he did, shouldn't he rectify it? Shouldn't he do something?
Yeah.
That's what they seem to do with every jerk in this series. Like with Alex and Steven, they have a moment of realization of, yeah, I was bad, and then nothing happens. I'm sorry. Henry says I can't say jerk.
Oh, okay. Bad words.
Fine.
I'm sorry, but we don't say jerk. All right.
Thank you. Look at that. Even Henry is more well-informed and nice than Steven Keaton.
I did something bad, and he corrected me, and I apologized.
That's how it works.
So instead of anyone apologizing in this scene, what is the solution in this scene? How do we bond this family? How do we cleave this family back together again? Well, let's sing a reprise of I Got You, Babe. And then, as if
It's offensive. I was offended by this.
If it's not bad enough, we get Alex peeking around the door into the kitchen. And just when you think Alex just may go, fuck this, I am not joining it. Nope, let's just go for the obvious joke. Have Alex come in and modulate it one more half note up and sing another refrain.
Because, I mean, what's the one thing that we know about Michael J. Fox and singing? He can't do it at all. So why even bring him in to ruin what's already terrible?
I was watching the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they did a tribute to Chuck Berry at the beginning, and they played his the song from Back to the Future, and they cut Michael J. Fox was in the audience, and they cut to him.
Oh wow!
It was really a cool moment. It was really a cool moment. Yeah. Guys, we're only halfway through this. I know. I feel like we say this every season. We're only halfway through, but this is a turning point, man.
Honestly, this is the worst episode of the entire show.
I think I might be with you on that, Paul.
And not even because it's badly done or whatever. You know, I'm not saying it's like a bad structurally type thing necessarily. It's what it implies about these characters is the meanest most awful thing I never would have in a million years imagined an episode like this existing.
I agree. I think for me, this takes the place of Sweet Lorraine. So, Sweet Lorraine, congratulations. You're the number 2 worst episode. Architect's Apprentice, welcome to number 1.
Woo! We did it, you guys.
We did it. All right. For questions and comments, be sure to email us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com. And you can follow us with updates on Twitter at QTWFT. Each of us is also on Twitter. I'm at Follow Jones.
I'm at Paul Packler.
I'm at Corpep.
And be sure to like our Facebook page. We like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon at Fanbase Press. Fanbase Press is an online conglomerate of geek media spanning the pop culture spectrum, supporting artists and creative visions. Be sure to check out all of their work. We like to thank Perry Adams, who beautifully performs the theme song Without Us. Be sure to check out Perry's music at perryadams.com. We like to thank Brian Dillon, Fanbase Press's president, and our editor. We also like to thank Sean Foster, who also designed our graphic logo. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.